Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. May Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai's peace be bestowed unto you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother Yahweh Call from Great Millstone, Orlando. This is just going to be a dream that I had, which I'm not one to get dreams. But I'll say within the past year, definitely been having a lot of these premonitions and dreams, visions, and as it was encouraged to me to start putting these on wax. So with that being said, getting into this dream, it actually, from what I remember in the dream, and this is, again, I'm not one to get dreams, like I said, and I feel through the spirit if the Lord wants me to speak on a dream that I have, because the dreams that I do get, oftentimes over the years I don't remember them. So with that being said, if I have a dream, because some brothers, they like to do a video based off their dreams right after they wake up. But like I said, since I'm not one to get dreams, if I do get a dream, I tend to wait on it just to see if the Lord's going to keep it in my remembrance for me to even do a video. So this is one of those dreams, I sat on it, meditated on it, because of course the dream is very vivid. That's one thing about these dreams, they're very vivid. So the fact that I remember the dreams, when I do have these dreams, and I'll speak on them. So I'm gonna try to do my best to, because I'm not one to articulate well, put words together well and things of that nature, So I'm gonna do my best to speak out what I saw in this dream. So, just hitting the main points of this dream. Overall, it was dealing with World War III. Although war hadn't broke out yet, but nevertheless, this was the sentiment of the dream. And in fact, in the dream, again, I had a dream within the dream. Well, it was actually more so of a trance, I'll say, because I remember in the dream having this trance. I wasn't asleep. I was actually awake, and I was in the middle. It was like a trance, because there was a lot of things in the dream. I don't remember, so that's why I want to get the meat of the dream, and just my intake on this dream. And that's another reason why I like to sit on the dreams that I have before I speak on it or do a video on it, because I want to get the symbolism. What is the Lord trying to show me here? What does this mean? So that's another reason why I like to sit on the dreams, to try to meditate, on pretty much what's being communicated, or the symbolism of certain things that you see within these dreams. So there was a lot of things that was going on, business as usual in the dream. I don't remember the details, but I remember going into this trance. I was going into this trance, and in this trance, I don't know if I was flying or in a chariot, But I was going up, up, up to the point where, you getting to, because, being from Florida, I was being taken up again. I don't know if it was by chariot or flight, but I had the spiritual power. Or maybe it was just my spirit leaving my body. Come to think about it, since again, it was more so of a trance. Come to think about it, that's exactly what it was. My spirit leaving my body, my spirit just going to the pretty much the atmosphere, to where I could see before I fast forward, I'm fast forwarding. As I'm going up into the atmosphere, there was this, it was basically a warhead, a singular warhead. All right, because you have the ICBM missiles, which are pretty much the vehicles that transports the warheads. All right. So, because with these nukes, the ICBMs, they have multiple warheads. They contain multiple warheads. All right. So as I was going up and I was going up at a very fast rate, very fast. So as I'm going up, this singular warhead, it went up faster than, it was going faster than I was going. It was going super fast. I was going fast as it was, but this warhead, it zoomed past me. All right. And as I was going up, again, I was going to the atmosphere, pretty much the point to where you could see the glow of the earth, right? You can see the light of the earth, the shine of the earth, and I could see the whole the outline of Orlando. It's like if you look up and again, I can't articulate it, so I'm trying to describe it to the best of my ability. But I was high enough to where I was right in between. I guess you could say the ozone layer, right? Right before you got out to the so-called outer space, right? Again, you can see the outline of the earth, and more particular, Florida in particular. I can see the whole state of Florida. Because I had paused, I had stopped, and as I saw the outline of Florida, looking at the outline of Florida, which was a very beautiful view, if I may add, I proceeded to descend back to my body. My spirit just proceeded to descend back to my body. All right. So as my spirit got back to my body, and I came back to, because again, I was in a trance. So I came back to, and immediately, Slakia, I didn't come back to. I was still in the trance, because my spirit came back down to in this trance. My spirit came back down to my body, and immediately I turned around and I told everyone to look, like over there, I told everyone to turn around, and that same nuke that I mentioned earlier, that warhead, that singular warhead, it hit, but it wasn't a big explosion. It wasn't a, it wasn't the devastation a typical nuke would cause. But nevertheless, it was a big explosion. So from there, that's when my body came back to, that's when I came to, out of the trance. So from there, as I came to, apparently things were going on while I was in this trance. Things were going on because as I came back to, as I came out of this trance, everyone was because Slakia, in the again while I was in that trance, as I saw that singular warhead, and as it hit Florida, I don't know what part, but I don't know what part I was in, what part of Florida I was in, but it hit Florida, and I could because again I told everyone to like, oh snap, look, I told everyone to turn around and look, and like I said, because it wasn't a devastating, it wasn't a Sarah Connor scene, for those that have seen the Terminator, it wasn't like that, but it was a big explosion, and it was way in the distance. So with that being said, people didn't take it serious. They looked, and then they went back to their business, business as usual. All right. So after that, that's when I came to, so to say, that's when I came out of this trance. And like I said, I don't know what was going on while I was in this trance, but there was some type of there was something had went down to where everyone. Now in this dream, I remember there was people that I was familiar with. There was certain family members and just a lot of random people. Even for whatever reason, my the head brother of the Orlando camp, Nahoya, he was in this dream. And of course, me and him were the only ones that were like, we were in the truth. So in this dream, we were in the truth. So for the most part, we know what the business was. We know what the deal was. But again, while I was in this trance, something happened to where everyone had this defeated spirit about them. Like, damn, man, this is it, Because like I said, even before I went into this trance, I don't remember the details. Before I even went into this trance, there was a lot of people, this is business as usual, business as usual. So as I came out of this trance, there was a very like sad look, countenance. It was a very defeated countenance, a very defeated look about these people as I came out of this trance in this dream. So with that being said, everyone, because there's buildings all around in this dream, there was buildings everywhere. So everyone in this dream, man, they just started going into these buildings. All right, I remember going into this building. Again, me and the head brother, we were the only ones in this dream that we were in the truth. We were aware. We knew what the deal was. It's so much that and this shit's cold, because the head brother Nahoya, he saw a chick that he liked, and for brothers in the camp, we know brothers give a certain look, and that's you, So the head brother Nahoya, he saw a chick that he liked, and I knew, he claimed that, but I told him in the dream. I remember telling him, hey, because we have a saying amongst the brothers, amongst the body, hey, we'll see you in the chariot. That's a saying amongst us. We'll see you, Lord's will, we'll see you in the chariot. That's a saying amongst the body. And I told the head brother in the dream, hey, you're about to see her in the chariot. I remember saying that. I said, don't worry, brother, you're about to see her. You're about to see her in the chariot. Because that was the sentiment. That pretty much, because as we're all going into these buildings, there's food, there's food and drinks. It was pretty much the spirit. The spirit was like, man, this is it. I remember walking up to I remember asking, like I said, I don't know what happened while I was in this trance, but I remember asking, like, well, like, what's going on? Why is everyone, what's going on? And some random person told me that, hey man, the United States president is about to give a speech in 30 minutes. He's about to give a speech in 30 minutes. A nationwide speech in 30 minutes. So again, just harping upon the dream. Like I said, everyone had this defeated look, just this defeated spirit about them, except me and the head brother Naharia. We were like, hey, we know what the deal is, man. We about to get up out of here. We about to get beamed up. I even remember in the dream a girl holding my hand that I've never met in this life, in real life, but in the dream she was and it's symbolic. You see, that's what I was saying earlier. There's a lot of symbolism. So just trying to decipher, because I believed with this chick, because as we were all walking into these rooms, we were walking into these spaces where they got food. It was pretty much like a Last Supper type of thing. Like, man, hey, let's just it's kind of like those movies, right, where you got the tsunamis coming, the tsunamis getting ready to come up on the beach, right, and everyone's running, but you always got that one couple. It's just like, man, this is it. There's no outrunning this. There's no outrunning this. This is it. They hug each other one last time. It was that vibe. Like, man, everyone, all these people, they were like, man, this is where we're gonna go, man. What we gonna do? So, I had all these spaces, man. They had rooms. All these rooms, they had food, and it was pretty much, hey, the final goodbye, man. Hey, this is it, man. Because basically, what I perceived from the dream was it was about to be a nuclear fallout. And as we know, when it comes to Yahweh Bashim Shai's judgments, there's no escape. There's no escape. So pretty much everyone had this attitude. The spirit was this, hey man, and I perceived that was pretty much what the president of the United States, and even more so, I don't know what this means, but the president in the dream, he was Barack Obama. He was a Barack Obama. I saw it on the news. It was breaking news. The United States president, and it was Barack Obama. He's going to give a nationwide speech in 30 minutes or something like that. But that's pretty much the vibe. Like, hey, he's about to announce that, hey, we're fucked. Everyone's fucked. Everyone's fucked. We're all fucked. So that was the spirit of the dream. That's why, again, everyone had these, like, damn, they had this defeated attitude. Like, man, this is it. Everyone's hugging each other. Yeah, it was the final goodbye, but hey, Lord willing, because it didn't get past that, I woke up from the dream, so I didn't get past that. But in the dream, I knew, hey, just according to the spirit, via the spirit, and we about to get up out of here, man. And I perceived that because, again, I was getting taken up while I was in that trance. In this dream, I was in that trance. I was already getting taken up. And that that singular warhead, man, how it flew past me, because that is going to be the new Passover. That's going to be the new Passover. Get into a few scriptures, because that's pretty much the sentiment of the dream. That's the gist of the dream. I'm trying to think of anything else. That's pretty much the gist of the dream. Because what that reminded me of, that singular warhead, man, what it reminded me of was this here. Well, like I said, a lot of symbolism, of course. So real quick, two quick ones. In Revelation 18, because I saw all of Florida, the whole outline of Florida, and this singular warhead, it hit, and it was a big explosion. And it reminded me of this here in Revelation 18 and 21. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And pretty much when you go into it, man, this great millstone is likened unto the missiles, all right? All the missiles that are going to touch ground zero here in America specifically, turning this place into a complete lake of fire, all right? Because this whole kingdom was established on violence, so it's going to go out by way of violence, all right? And that's what this is likened unto, all right? And not only that, it also reminded me of this. You know, the Apostle Tahar, he's been talking about this. And Lord willing, I'm going to connect the dots as well. But in Revelation 13, well, I'm going to start at verse 12. Revelation 11. Revelation 11 and 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. It also says that in Revelation 18. All right. Getting beamed up as the missiles touch ground. All right. The elect are going to get beamed up. And again, that was the spirit I perceive. Because, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I hope, I hope I do, but I don't know if I'm going to make it. But just based off of the spirit, the vibes off of me and the head brother Nahoya in this dream, like, hey, we about to get out of here. Like I said, like I said, the head brother Nahoya, he saw a chick that he liked, man. And he claimed that, in the dream. And I remember telling him, hey, you're about to see her in the chariot. You're about to see her in the chariot. And we laughed about it, while everyone else had this down and out countenance, hey, me and Nahoya, we were uplifted in the spirit, like we about to get up out of here. So just based off of the, that spirit, that vibe, and like I said, earlier in that trance, I was getting, well, my spirit was ascending, into the heavens, in, what was that verse, because this was what's going to take place, as I said before. This is going to be the new Passover. As the elect are getting beamed down, as the elect are getting beamed up, the missiles are going to be coming down, And don't be surprised, man. Hey, just speaking in the spirit, man. You get beamed up and you're 10 feet away from the missile you're 10 feet away from the missiles, man. As they're coming down, you get beaten up. Don't be surprised. I think about things like that. Lord's will. As I'm getting beamed up, man, I might be close enough to where I could touch a missile as it's coming down. Getting beamed up. Lord's will. Again, I'm not saying I'm of the elect, and I don't know. But it is a thing of, as I've said this before, looking at the glass half full rather than half empty. I don't think about the what ifs and the woe is me, and nah, man, victory minded. Victory minded. But reading on in verse 13, it says, in the same hour was there, because this is also what because also as I was descending, the same way that when I was being ascended into the heavens, and that warhead, it zoomed past me. Well, it was vice versa, all right, because that warhead, it came back down. But I had zoomed past, my spirit had zoomed past the warhead, and as I was in that trance again, my spirit came back into my body in that trance. Before I came out of that trance, my spirit came back to my body, and that's when I told everyone, look, and that warhead came down. So again, the elect are going to get passed over, man. That's going to be the new Passover, Lord's will. But in verse 13, Revelation 8, 11 and 13, in the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. So this is also what came to mind when, and I'm thinking about these precepts as I'm in this dream. I'm thinking about these precepts. These precepts are going through my mind. So to me, what this also symbolizes is, as when that warhead hit a certain part of Florida, this is what this reminded me of. All right, when they mentioned the 10th part of the city fell, and again, Apostle Tahar, he's been going into this, and it makes sense, you know. He's made it clear. This isn't prophecy, you know, or doctrine or anything like that. You know, he's made it clear, but it does make sense. You know, when the 10th part of the city fell, you know, and just speculating in the spirit, a particular state, you know, getting hit with one of those missiles, those nukes, those ICBMs, right? And from there, you know, I'm gonna go to this real quick in Isaiah, because we see all this tension with World War III, Russia. I just seen Russia is threatening to nuke NATO, which we know that's, you know, the MOTB has to come, and, you know, certain things have to play out, but nevertheless, you know, these things are going to come to pass. All right, those missiles will get shot off. All right. So with all this tension, is essentially it's going to get kinetic. You know, it's going to be full blown. It's going to be full blown. All right, those little red buttons are going to get pressed. All right, those keys are going to get turned. You know, however it plays out. But as far as the 10th part of the city falling, you know, and again, just speculating through the spirit, echoing off of the elder Apostle Tahar, what that represented to me was a particular city getting hit with a nuke. And from there, negotiations are going to be made, right? That's why I'm going to grab this in Isaiah. Isaiah 13:17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So basically, man, the negotiations are going to come to a failure. When you read in that Ezekiel 38, man, the Lord is going to put an evil thought in those Russian Edomites, all right, because they're the modern day, well, they currently dwell in that land of the Medes, or Gog and Magog. All right, you know, this represents those Russians today, them Russian Edomites today. All right, so that's also what this represented to me. All right, and with that, negotiations are going to come to a failure. All right. Matter of fact, verse 18: their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity of the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So, yeah, man, you know, it's going to get to a point where something's going to happen. They're going to try to come up with some type of peace talks, peace treaty, and these nations with the Russian Edomites leading the charge, they're going to say, fuck it. They're going to say, fuck it. All right. And going back to what I perceived, that major breaking news, all right, the United States president having a nationwide, you know, announcement, you know, and it's, again, you know, it's spiritual, because America is going to be destroyed in 1 hour. And again, like Apostle Tahar says, it doesn't take 1 hour to destroy the missiles, or Slaki. It doesn't take 1 hour to destroy Babylon, but the missiles, it's not going to take 1 hour. So again, just speculating in the spirit, echoing off Apostle Tahar, it makes sense, you know. A nuke might go off somewhere, in a particular city, a major city. All right, you know, negotiations, you know, peace talks and all this, and it's gonna come to naught, man. The nations, the Russians leading the charge, man, they're gonna say, fuck it, fuck America. And those buttons are going to get pressed. So I perceived again, the major announcement, like I said before, That's pretty much the just or the spirit. Like, hey man, we're fucked. You know, get to your nearest bunkers, whatever the case may be. Hey, hug your loved ones, cause hey, we're fucked. You know, and I knew in the spirit, because you know everyone was already in that down and out spirit, man. Like I said, I don't know what was going on while I was in that trance in the dream, but the whole vibe was changed. Like, man, we're fucked, man. You know, we're fucked. You know, we're fucked. You know, everyone was walking with their tails tucked. You know, they were through. Everyone was through. So I perceive that to be the major announcement that, hey, man, we're fucked. You know. So, you know, that's the gist of the dream. All right. Lord willing, this was edifying. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully, like.